Before we begin our journey tonight, a brief note. This episode of Sleepy Psychology is brought to you by the SAC Center, a leading telehealth clinic specializing in the testing and treatment of autism and ADHD. The SAC Center proudly serves all 50 states, bringing expert care directly to you, wherever you are. To learn more about their comprehensive services and how they can help, please visit saccenter.com. Welcome, dear listener, to this gentle exploration of one of the most profound and promising frontiers in modern psychology. Tonight, we embark on a peaceful journey through the remarkable world of psychedelic therapy for trauma healing, a field that has emerged from the shadows of prohibition to offer new hope for millions of people carrying the weight of difficult experiences. As you settle into your comfortable space, perhaps adjusting your pillow or pulling your blanket a little closer, allow yourself to drift into this story of healing, discovery, and the remarkable resilience of the human mind. This is not just a tale of scientific breakthrough, but a deeply human story of how ancient medicines are finding their way back into modern healing practices, offering pathways to recovery that were once thought impossible. The story begins not in a sterile laboratory or clinical setting, but in the quiet desperation of countless individuals who have tried conventional treatments for trauma without finding the relief they desperately seek. Post-traumatic stress disorder, complex trauma from childhood experiences, the invisible wounds carried by veterans, survivors of abuse, and those who have witnessed or experienced life's most difficult moments. For decades, these individuals have navigated a landscape of traditional therapies, medications, and treatments that, while helpful for many, left others still searching for a way to truly heal. Imagine, if you will, the year 1943 in a quiet laboratory in Basel, Switzerland. A chemist named Albert Hofmann is working with a compound he first synthesized 5 years earlier, lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD. On this particular April day, he accidentally absorbs a small amount through his skin and experiences something unprecedented in the history of human consciousness research. As he rides his bicycle home, the world transforms around him in ways that would later be described as the first documented LSD experience. This moment, now known as Bicycle Day, marked the beginning of a new chapter in our understanding of the human mind and its capacity for healing. But the story of psychedelics and healing reaches much further back than that Swiss laboratory. Indigenous cultures across the globe have used plant medicines for thousands of years, understanding intuitively what modern science is now beginning to prove through rigorous research. The ayahuasca ceremonies of the Amazon, the peyote rituals of Native American tribes, the psilocybin mushrooms used in Mesoamerican spiritual practices, all of these traditions recognize something profound about these substances and their ability to facilitate healing, particularly from psychological wounds. As you breathe slowly and deeply, consider how these ancient practices understood something that Western medicine is only now rediscovering. The indigenous healers, or curanderos, observed that these plant medicines could help individuals process difficult experiences, release emotional blockages, and find new perspectives on their pain. They created ceremonial containers, safe spaces where healing could occur under careful guidance, principles that modern psychedelic therapy has adopted and refined. The mid-20th century brought a brief but remarkable period of legitimate psychedelic research. Between the 1950s and early 1970s, before these substances were classified as controlled substances, researchers conducted hundreds of studies exploring their therapeutic potential. Psychiatrists like Humphrey Osmond, who coined the term psychedelic, meaning mind manifesting, worked with patients suffering from alcoholism, depression, and what we would now recognize as post-traumatic stress disorder. The results were often extraordinary, with success rates that surpassed conventional treatments of the time. Dr. Stanislav Grof, a Czech psychiatrist who would become one of the most influential figures in psychedelic research, conducted thousands of sessions with patients using LSD in controlled therapeutic settings. He observed that these experiences could help individuals access and process traumatic memories in ways that traditional talk therapy often could not achieve. Patients would report profound insights, emotional releases, and lasting changes in their relationship to their trauma. Grof's work laid the foundation for our modern understanding of how psychedelics might facilitate healing from psychological wounds. But then came the cultural upheaval of the 1960s, and with it, the recreational use of these substances outside of medical contexts. The association with counterculture movements, combined with political pressures and genuine concerns about unsupervised use, led to the classification of psychedelics as Schedule I substances in 1970. This effectively ended legitimate research for decades, creating what researchers now call the dark age of psychedelic science. During this long hiatus, trauma treatment evolved along other pathways. Cognitive behavioral therapy, EMDR, somatic therapies, and various medications became the standard approaches. While these treatments helped many people, clinicians continued to encounter individuals whose trauma seemed resistant to conventional interventions. Veterans returning from conflicts in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, survivors of childhood abuse, victims of violent crimes, and others carrying the weight of overwhelming experiences often found themselves cycling through multiple treatments without achieving the deep healing they sought. The Renaissance began quietly in the 1990s, as a small group of dedicated researchers and advocates worked to revive legitimate scientific inquiry into psychedelic therapy. Organizations like the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, founded by Rick Doblin, began the painstaking work of navigating regulatory hurdles and funding the research necessary to bring these treatments back into mainstream medicine. Dr. Michael Mithoefer, a psychiatrist in South Carolina, became one of the pioneers of this new era when he began conducting FDA-approved studies of MDMA-assisted psychotherapy for post-traumatic stress disorder. MDMA, also known as ecstasy in its recreational form, had shown promise in the earlier era of research for its unique ability to reduce fear and increase empathy and emotional openness. In controlled therapeutic settings, these properties could create an ideal state for processing traumatic memories. As you continue to relax, breathing slowly and naturally, imagine the careful preparation that goes into these therapeutic sessions. Unlike the chaotic or unsupervised use that characterized the 1960s, modern psychedelic therapy follows rigorous protocols designed to maximize safety and therapeutic benefit. Patients undergo extensive screening, preparation sessions with their therapists, and careful integration work following their experiences. The results of Dr. Mithoefer's studies were remarkable. In his Phase 2 clinical trials, 68% of participants no longer met the criteria for PTSD after just 3 MDMA-assisted therapy sessions, compared to 23% in the placebo group. Even more striking, these improvements were maintained at long-term follow-up, suggesting that the healing achieved was not temporary but represented genuine, lasting change. But what exactly happens in the brain during these experiences that facilitates such profound healing? Modern neuroscience has begun to provide answers to this question, revealing the intricate ways that psychedelics interact with our neural networks to promote psychological healing. When we experience trauma, our brains often respond by creating protective mechanisms that, while initially adaptive, can become problematic over time. The amygdala, our brain's alarm system, becomes hypervigilant, constantly scanning for threats and triggering fight-or-flight responses even in safe situations. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking and emotional regulation, may become less active, making it difficult to process and integrate traumatic experiences. Psychedelics appear to work by temporarily disrupting these entrenched patterns. Research using brain imaging technology has shown that substances like psilocybin and LSD reduce activity in what neuroscientists call the default mode network, a collection of brain regions that includes areas responsible for self-referential thinking and the maintenance of our sense of self. This network often becomes overactive in conditions like depression and PTSD, creating repetitive, negative thought patterns that keep individuals trapped in cycles of suffering. By quieting this network, psychedelics create what researchers describe as a state of cognitive flexibility. The rigid patterns of thinking and feeling that characterize trauma responses become more malleable, allowing for new perspectives and insights to emerge. It's as if the brain's usual highways of thought are temporarily closed, forcing traffic to find new routes and, in doing so, creating new pathways that can persist long after the acute effects of the substance have worn off. Dr. Robin Carhart-Harris, a leading researcher at Imperial College London, has described this process using the metaphor of a snow-covered hill. Normally, our thoughts follow well-worn paths down the hill, like sledding tracks that become deeper with each use. Psychedelics are like a fresh snowfall that covers these tracks, allowing the sled to find entirely new paths down the hill. Some of these new paths may prove more efficient or beneficial than the old ones, leading to lasting changes in how we think and feel. This neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural connections, appears to be significantly enhanced during psychedelic experiences. Studies have shown increased production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that promotes the growth of new neurons and synapses. This biological mechanism may explain why insights and healing achieved during psychedelic therapy sessions often feel so profound and lasting. Each psychedelic substance offers its own unique therapeutic profile, like different keys that can unlock various aspects of healing. MDMA, which we've already discussed, is particularly effective for trauma because of its ability to reduce fear while maintaining emotional connection. Unlike classic psychedelics, MDMA doesn't typically produce the profound alterations in perception associated with substances like LSD or psilocybin. Instead, it creates what therapists describe as an optimal therapeutic window, where patients can access difficult memories and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. During an MDMA-assisted therapy session, patients often report feeling a profound sense of safety and self-compassion. The substance appears to temporarily reduce activity in the amygdala while enhancing connectivity between different brain regions, allowing for a more integrated processing of traumatic experiences. Patients can revisit painful memories with a sense of emotional distance and clarity that would be impossible in their normal state of consciousness. Psilocybin, the active compound in magic mushrooms, offers a different but equally valuable therapeutic profile. Research conducted at institutions like Johns Hopkins University and Imperial College London has shown remarkable results in treating depression, anxiety, and trauma-related conditions. Dr. Roland Griffiths, who led much of the pioneering research at Johns Hopkins, found that a single high-dose psilocybin session, conducted in a supportive therapeutic setting, could produce lasting improvements in psychological well-being that persisted for months or even years. The psilocybin experience often involves what researchers call ego dissolution, a temporary softening of the boundaries between self and world that can provide profound perspective on one's problems and relationships. For trauma survivors, this can offer a respite from the hypervigilant, self-protective stance that trauma often creates. In this expanded state of consciousness, individuals may experience a sense of connection to something larger than themselves, whether they interpret this as spiritual, cosmic, or simply a deeper understanding of their place in the web of human experience. LSD, the substance that started this modern journey of discovery, continues to show promise in therapeutic applications, though research has been more limited due to its longer duration of action and more intense effects. Some therapists and researchers believe that LSD's extended duration, typically 8 to 12 hours compared to psilocybin's 4 to 6 hours, may offer advantages for certain types of therapeutic work, allowing for deeper exploration and integration of insights. Ayahuasca, the traditional Amazonian brew containing the psychedelic compound DMT, has also attracted significant research attention. Studies conducted in countries where ayahuasca use is legal have shown promising results for treating depression, anxiety, and trauma. The ayahuasca experience is often described as particularly suited to processing emotional material, with many participants reporting encounters with difficult emotions and memories that lead to profound healing and insight. What makes these substances so effective for trauma treatment appears to be their ability to facilitate what psychologists call corrective emotional experiences. In traditional therapy, patients often struggle to access the emotional content of their traumatic memories, either because they're too overwhelming or because psychological defenses keep them at bay. Psychedelics can temporarily lower these defenses while providing the emotional support and clarity needed to process difficult material. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score and one of the world's leading trauma researchers, has become an advocate for psychedelic therapy after witnessing its effects on treatment-resistant patients. He describes how trauma becomes stuck in the body and brain, creating patterns of reactivity that persist long after the original threat has passed. Psychedelics, he suggests, may offer a way to unstick these patterns, allowing the natural healing processes of the mind and body to resume. The therapeutic process typically unfolds in 3 phases: preparation, the psychedelic session itself, and integration. The preparation phase, which may involve several sessions over weeks or months, is crucial for building trust between patient and therapist, setting intentions for the experience, and creating a safe psychological container for the work ahead. Patients learn about what to expect, practice techniques for navigating difficult emotions, and work with their therapist to identify specific areas they hope to address. The session itself takes place in a carefully controlled environment, often designed to feel more like a comfortable living room than a clinical setting. Patients typically lie on a couch with eye shades and headphones, listening to specially curated music designed to support the therapeutic process. Therapists remain present throughout the session, offering support and guidance when needed, but generally allowing the patient's own inner healing wisdom to guide the experience. Perhaps most importantly, the integration phase helps patients make sense of their experience and translate insights into lasting changes in their daily lives. This might involve additional therapy sessions, journaling, meditation practices, or other activities designed to help embed the healing that occurred during the psychedelic session into the fabric of everyday existence. As you continue to rest comfortably, perhaps feeling your body sinking deeper into relaxation with each breath, let us explore what these remarkable discoveries mean for you personally, regardless of whether you ever have access to psychedelic therapy. The principles underlying the effectiveness of these treatments offer a roadmap for healing and growth that can be applied through many different pathways. The first and perhaps most important lesson is the power of approaching your inner experience with curiosity rather than judgment. In psychedelic therapy, participants often report that the substance allows them to observe their thoughts, emotions, and memories from a place of compassionate witness rather than harsh critic. This shift in perspective, from judgment to curiosity, is something you can cultivate in your daily life through mindfulness practices, self-reflection, and conscious attention to your inner dialogue. Notice, for instance, how you speak to yourself when you make a mistake or face a challenge. Do you offer yourself the same kindness you would extend to a good friend in similar circumstances? The research on self-compassion, pioneered by psychologist Kristin Neff, shows that treating yourself with kindness during difficult times actually increases your resilience and ability to learn from setbacks, rather than making you weak or self-indulgent as some people fear. The second crucial insight from psychedelic therapy research is the importance of creating safe spaces for emotional processing. The carefully controlled setting of a therapy session, with its emphasis on safety, support, and non-judgment, creates conditions that allow deep healing to occur. You can apply this principle by being intentional about creating similar conditions in your own life. This might mean setting aside regular time for self-reflection, whether through journaling, meditation, or simply quiet contemplation. It could involve seeking out relationships and communities where you feel safe to be vulnerable and authentic. It might mean working with a therapist, counselor, or spiritual guide who can provide the kind of supportive presence that facilitates healing and growth. The research also highlights the transformative power of meaning-making, the human capacity to find purpose and significance in even the most difficult experiences. Participants in psychedelic therapy studies often report that their sessions help them see their struggles as part of a larger story of growth and development, rather than simply as random suffering or personal failure. You can cultivate this capacity for meaning-making through practices like reflective writing, where you explore the lessons and insights that have emerged from your challenges. Many people find it helpful to write letters to their younger selves, offering the wisdom and compassion they wish they had received during difficult times. Others create art, music, or other forms of creative expression that help them process and integrate their experiences. The concept of post-traumatic growth, which has emerged from research on how people recover from difficult experiences, suggests that trauma and adversity, while never welcome, can sometimes serve as catalysts for profound positive change. People who experience post-traumatic growth often report increased appreciation for life, deeper and more meaningful relationships, greater personal strength, enhanced spiritual development, and new possibilities for their lives. This doesn't mean that trauma is good or necessary for growth, but rather that the human spirit has a remarkable capacity to transform even the most difficult experiences into sources of wisdom and strength. The key factors that promote post-traumatic growth include social support, the ability to express and process emotions, and the development of new perspectives on the traumatic experience. Dr. Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun, who first identified and studied post-traumatic growth, emphasized that this process doesn't happen automatically. It requires active engagement with the difficult experience, often with the support of others, and a willingness to question previous assumptions and beliefs. The insights from psychedelic therapy research suggest that these substances may accelerate this natural process by creating optimal conditions for perspective-taking and emotional processing. Another profound insight from the research is the recognition that healing is not a linear process. Participants in psychedelic therapy studies often describe their recovery as involving cycles of insight, integration, challenge, and further growth, rather than a straight line from suffering to wellness. This understanding can be deeply reassuring for anyone on a healing journey, as it normalizes the ups and downs that are a natural part of growth and change. In your own life, you might notice that progress often comes in waves rather than steady increments. There may be periods of rapid insight and change followed by times of consolidation and integration. There may be setbacks that initially feel like failures but ultimately lead to deeper understanding and more sustainable growth. Learning to trust this natural rhythm of healing can reduce the frustration and self-criticism that often arise when change doesn't happen as quickly or smoothly as we might hope. The research also reveals the importance of what psychologists call psychological safety, the feeling that you can express yourself authentically without fear of judgment, rejection, or harm. This quality of safety is essential not just in therapeutic settings, but in all relationships and environments where healing and growth occur. You can contribute to psychological safety in your relationships by practicing active listening, offering empathy rather than advice, and creating space for others to express their authentic thoughts and feelings. You can seek out relationships and communities that offer this quality of safety, and you can work to develop it within yourself through self-acceptance and self-compassion practices. The field of trauma-informed care, which has grown out of our increased understanding of how trauma affects individuals and communities, emphasizes the importance of creating environments that promote healing rather than re-traumatization. The principles of trauma-informed care, which include safety, trustworthiness, peer support, collaboration, empowerment, and attention to cultural and gender issues, can be applied not just in clinical settings but in schools, workplaces, and communities. As an individual, you can practice trauma-informed principles by being mindful of how your words and actions might affect others, especially those who may be carrying invisible wounds. This might mean being patient with someone who seems overly sensitive or reactive, recognizing that their responses may be shaped by experiences you know nothing about. It might mean advocating for policies and practices in your workplace or community that promote psychological safety and well-being for everyone. As we near the end of our exploration of psychedelic therapy and trauma healing, take a moment to notice how your body feels now compared to when we began this journey together. Perhaps your breathing has naturally slowed and deepened. Perhaps there's a sense of relaxation spreading through your muscles, a softening that comes from allowing yourself to be present with these ideas and insights without needing to do anything with them right now. The story of psychedelic therapy for trauma is ultimately a story about hope, about the remarkable resilience of the human spirit, and about our capacity to transform even the most difficult experiences into sources of wisdom and strength. It reminds us that healing is always possible, that our brains and minds retain the ability to form new patterns and perspectives throughout our lives, and that we are not permanently defined by what has happened to us. The research we've explored tonight offers several key insights that can inform your own journey of healing and growth. The importance of self-compassion, the power of meaning-making, the value of psychological safety, the natural rhythm of healing, and the transformative potential of approaching your inner experience with curiosity rather than judgment. These principles can be applied through many different pathways, whether through therapy, meditation, creative expression, meaningful relationships, or simply through the conscious choice to treat yourself and others with greater kindness and understanding. Perhaps most importantly, this research reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles. The scientists, therapists, and brave participants who have contributed to our understanding of psychedelic therapy have done so in service of a larger vision of human flourishing, a world where effective treatments are available for those who are suffering, and where the wisdom gained from healing can be shared to benefit others. Dr. Stanislav Grof, whose pioneering work we discussed earlier, once wrote that the psychedelic experience reveals that we are not just highly evolved animals with biological computers embedded inside our skulls, but much more mysterious and complex beings with extraordinary potentials we are just beginning to understand. This perspective, supported by decades of research, suggests that our capacity for healing, growth, and transformation may be far greater than we typically imagine. As you continue to rest comfortably, allowing these ideas to settle gently into your awareness, remember that the journey of healing is not about reaching some perfect destination, but about developing a different relationship with the journey itself. It's about learning to hold your experiences, both difficult and joyful, with greater compassion and wisdom. It's about recognizing that your struggles and your healing can serve not just your own well-being, but can contribute to the larger human story of resilience and growth. The field of psychedelic therapy continues to evolve rapidly, with new studies, new insights, and new applications emerging regularly. But the fundamental principles underlying its effectiveness, the recognition of our innate capacity for healing and the importance of creating conditions that support that healing, these insights are timeless and universally applicable. Now, as we transition into the final portion of our time together, allow yourself to settle even more deeply into relaxation. We're going to spend the remaining time in a gentle, guided meditation designed to help you integrate the insights from tonight's journey and guide you peacefully into sleep. There's nothing you need to remember or hold onto from what we've discussed. Simply allow the ideas to rest in your unconscious mind, where they can continue to work their quiet magic as you sleep. Let your eyes close if they haven't already, and begin to notice the natural rhythm of your breathing. There's no need to change or control your breath in any way. Simply observe it as it flows in and out of your body naturally. With each exhale, allow yourself to release any tension or effort from the day. With each inhale, allow yourself to receive the peace and rest that your body and mind are naturally seeking. Notice how your body is supported by whatever surface you're resting on. Feel the weight of your body being held completely, requiring no effort from you to maintain your position. Your muscles can soften and release, knowing that you are safe and supported. Starting with the top of your head, imagine a wave of relaxation beginning to flow slowly down through your body. Feel this wave of relaxation moving across your forehead, smoothing away any lines of tension or concern. Allow it to flow around your eyes, releasing any strain from the day's seeing. Let it move through your jaw, allowing it to soften and part slightly, releasing any words that were spoken or held back today. The wave of relaxation continues down through your neck and shoulders, areas that often carry the weight of our responsibilities and concerns. Imagine these muscles softening and lengthening, allowing your shoulders to drop away from your ears. Feel the relaxation flowing down through your arms, through your elbows, into your hands and fingers, until your entire upper body feels heavy and relaxed. Now allow this peaceful wave to move through your chest, slowing your heartbeat to its natural resting rhythm. Feel it flowing through your abdomen, releasing any tension held in your core. Let it move through your lower back, an area that often holds the stress of supporting us through life's challenges. The relaxation continues down through your hips and pelvis, through your thighs and knees, into your calves and shins, finally reaching your feet and toes. Your entire body now feels heavy, relaxed, and completely supported. You are safe, you are at peace, and you are exactly where you need to be in this moment. As you rest in this state of deep physical relaxation, bring to mind the image of a peaceful place in nature. This might be a place you've actually visited, or it might be a place that exists only in your imagination. Perhaps it's a quiet forest clearing, with dappled sunlight filtering through the leaves above. Maybe it's a peaceful beach, with gentle waves lapping at the shore. Or it could be a mountain meadow, filled with wildflowers and surrounded by majestic peaks. Whatever place comes to mind, allow yourself to be there now in your imagination. Notice the details of this peaceful place. What do you see around you? What sounds do you hear? Perhaps there's the gentle rustling of leaves, the soft sound of water, or the distant call of birds. What do you smell? Maybe the fresh scent of pine, the salt air of the ocean, or the sweet fragrance of flowers. In this peaceful place, you are completely safe and at ease. Here, you can simply be yourself without any need to perform or achieve or fix anything. You can rest in the simple pleasure of existing, of breathing, of being alive in this beautiful world. As you rest in this peaceful place, Imagine that you are surrounded by a gentle, healing light. This light represents all the wisdom and insights we've explored tonight, all the potential for healing and growth that exists within you, and all the love and support that surrounds you, even when you can't see it. Allow this healing light to flow through every cell of your body, carrying with it a deep sense of peace, healing, and renewal. This light knows exactly what you need for your highest good, and it provides that healing energy without any effort required from you. Simply receive this gift of healing and renewal, allowing it to work its gentle magic as you rest. Know that as you sleep tonight, your unconscious mind will continue to process and integrate all the insights and healing energy you've received. Your dreams may carry forward this work of healing and integration, and you may wake tomorrow with new perspectives, renewed energy, or simply a deeper sense of peace and well-being. There is nothing you need to do now except rest and allow yourself to be carried gently into sleep. Your body knows how to heal, your mind knows how to process and integrate experiences, and your spirit knows how to find its way toward greater peace and wholeness. Trust in these natural processes as you surrender to sleep. With each breath, you are sinking deeper into relaxation and peace. With each exhale, you are releasing the day and all its concerns. With each inhale, you are receiving the rest and renewal that you need. Allow yourself to drift now, like a leaf floating gently on a peaceful stream, carried by currents of healing and love toward the restorative depths of sleep. Rest well, knowing that you are held in love, that healing is always possible, and that tomorrow offers new opportunities for growth, connection, and joy. Sleep peacefully, dear listener, and may your dreams be filled with the gentle wisdom of healing and the quiet strength that comes from knowing you are never alone on this journey of being human. Sweet dreams.
This episode of Sleepy Psychology was brought to you by the SAC Center, a leading telehealth clinic dedicated to the testing and treatment of autism and ADHD. The SAC Center is committed to providing expert, compassionate care across all 50 states, bringing specialized support directly to you, wherever you are. To explore their comprehensive services and learn how they can help, please visit saccenter.com. May your dreams be serene and your rest be deep. Good night.